2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect some clouds, but dry and mild weather out there for your afternoon highs into the upper 60s. Tonight, a line of showers and strong storms will march in after midnight. Lows 60 to 62. Quickly drying out Tuesday with some afternoon sun. Highs lower 70s. Back into the 60s Wednesday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world-famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Nicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11, right here on Nooga Radio.
For your small business, ending the year the right way can set you up for success come January. No need to let end-of-year panic set in. Easy Books and Taxes can help set up your books or new payroll service so that you can relax and enjoy the holiday season. With 35 years, bookkeeping, individual, and business tax preparation, it's easy. With Easy Books and Taxes, you run the business, we keep the books. Call us today at 423-755-0821.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay. Oh, how
Not the homosexual type gay, but like the happy gay. Sorry I had to hijack your intro, Marie. But this was short notice, so had to do it. I feel good. Well, why do you feel good? Because I voted today. Yes, I did. Straight red. Boom! Right down there. Straight wave. That wave is coming. Look out, baby. Chattanooga Police, what a great job you guys did on Sunday in the Secret Service. I mean, for all the security there, it felt like there was probably a tenth of what was there. They just did a fantastic job. First Responder Friday is this Friday. We debut this Friday with First Responder Friday. We want to highlight and thank all the first responders in Chattanooga, whether they be, firemen, tow truck drivers, ambulance drivers, or police officers, sheriff's department. Any first driver is going to be highlighted on Friday for First Responder Friday. Give an example. As we're standing there in line, as they were, because we're the media, we were standing outside, but still standing waiting. I was told that there was a backpack left at a tree and the guy just ran off. Well, I contacted Secret Service, went over and said, hey, guys, there's an unattended backpack. He called the Chattanooga police literally within about a minute or two. Boom, they're there. And they unzipped it. There was a red canister, probably some jokester, but wasn't very funny. So situational awareness is extremely important in these conditions when you're around a lot of people, because there are just a lot of crazies out there. A lot of crazies are going to the poll today, and they're going to vote for the party for death. The party of death. Well, who is the party? And this is not to disparage individuals, because, listen, my mom said she would never vote for me, and likewise, I would never vote for her. Because I love my mother, God rest her soul, but she was probably a Democrat. And I would never, and I thought I would never vote for you. And in my life, I've lost friends. I've had other halves that, didn't talk to me for weeks at a time. Like anytime they would destroy an abortion clinic in the 90s, I would celebrate the fact that murder factory can no longer kill unborn children. And that would cause a lot of dissension, family members getting upset. That's why I say, don't listen to the radio. Don't listen to Mike Steele. Please don't, because it's only going to upset you and aggravate you with these points of views if you're a liberal, a socialist, or a dummy rat. if you think it's okay to murder an unborn baby in the womb, I'm going to upset you because I'm going to tell you I'm almost a one-issue person that anyone that votes for a Democrat today is voting to murder an unborn child. Now, if you disagree with me, you can call 800-8949 because I always welcome the dissenting opinion. 423-800-8949. Chattanooga is going to go red. Chattanooga is conservative. Chattanooga makes sense. This weekend, this Sunday taught me a lesson that most people that were supporting Trump, and listen, I don't 100% support Trump because he's a moderate. So, I support the conservative side of him, like building the wall, which I would have gun turrets, and I would call the president of Mexico and say, hey, El Presidente, you need to stop the caravan because if one of those people get into our country, I'm sending the 101st Airborne in to get you, and I'm going to take you back to America for crimes against our country. And then we're going to have a declaration of war against you, Padre, for all the billions of dollars that your people cost us. So get your people in shape. Now, why do they want to come to America? Because it's the land of the what? The free, milk and honey? Fix your own country. And if you want to come to this country, bring something to the table like they did in the 17, 18, and 1900s. Speak the language. Know the culture. Salute my flag, not your stupid, lousy, ugly Mexican flag or Honduras flag. You turn my flag upside down and you fly your flag and stay in your country. Speak English and know our culture. Eat at McDonald's, jackasses. You're not welcome unless you come into this country legally. And every country has the right to protect its borders. This is not a country. Let me give you an example. The American Indians. What happened to them? Well, we now own the land. Yeah, but we did things to them. We violated every treaty. Oh, boo-hoo. Might makes right in this world. Whoever controls the land controls the land. Do we get that? If Russia is more powerful than us and they come over the North Sea and take this country over, it's theirs. You have to protect what you have. Peace through strength. Every single Democrat started a major war. World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Should I go on? I'm just going to tell you. See, here's the difference between the fake news media of the left. I call them the National Northeast Marxist media and guys like me. I don't pretend to be what I'm not. I believe in the Constitution of these states united and the Bible. That's what I believe in. And I think every politician must obey that or be tried for treason or sedition. That's pure and simple. And as I sat there in the press box with my red Make America Great hat, they were looking at me with disdain. Those eyes were like, if they had lasers in their eyes, that would have been burnt. Well, you know what, you big bunch of phonies? At least I didn't pretend to be neutral and be fake news. It has driven me crazy for years the way they manipulate the language. So you may not hear it, but I do because I'm in the business. I hear how they manipulate the language. In a further attempt to evade the rights of the immigrants, Donald Trump is going to court to eliminate DACA. Well, Barack, that skinny little half-white socialist or half-black socialist, he's not even black, he's half-white. So stop telling me he's black. And there's no African-American. Africa's a continent. Stop. If you say African-American, you're talking about a white or a black. Being used black or people of color. I don't care, but stop using the words incorrectly. That skinny little socialist that pretended to be a president who's never created a job in his life, who told me I didn't build my business, was never scrutinized as much as this current president. On top of that, let's talk about the manipulation of the language. In a further attempt to erode immigrants' rights, well, Obama admitted that DACA was unconstitutional, that he didn't have the power to do it, but he did it anyway. Congress has to grow a set and enact immigration laws that make sense. Does that mean we don't want people here? We need people here. Teenage American boys are too lazy to pick the fields. And girls, can you imagine your son or daughter? I've got 3 daughters, and I can't picture them because they're always the thumbs are on the phone. Can you guys come pick some tomatoes and grapes? As they half paid attention to you and looked up from their screen. Come on, seriously. We do need people in here that want a better life, and we welcome them. But there has to be a logical system to get them in our republic. Waiting 10 years is ridiculous. If you want to come and work and enhance our republic, it has to be about us, not about you. If you want to enhance our constitutional republic, do it legally. Tell us why you want to be here. Enhance it. You want to send money back? Send money back. I don't care. Keep the money here. But the point being, there has to be a system in place. I'm a systems guy. You can't just be crossing borders. What's going to cross the border? That's what Democrats believe in. You see, these big phonies now, and I'm harping on the Democrats for one reason. And I'm not talking about the people that are Democrats. Because, like, Mitchell's running, and I love her personally. She's a great person. I wouldn't vote for her, but I like her. I wouldn't vote for my mom if she was a Democrat, or my dad, or my wife, or whomever. I won't vote for. I've never voted for a Democrat in my life. I had a bumper sticker that said I'd vote for dog crap over a Democrat, primarily because they believe in their platform it's okay to murder an unborn child. How can you? And if you vote for a Democrat, that's what you believe in. You want to be associated with unborn baby murderers, and they are babies. At 7, 8 months, babies are killed at 9 just before they're born, pre-birth. Slice them and dice them. Or you're being mean. Well, not as mean as the person is that's slicing and dicing the baby. And I'm not attacking the woman that's in this bad predicament. It's the unborn baby killer that I'm attacking. It's the people that promote it, the agenda, the Margaret Sanger organization that hated minorities called Planned Parenthood, in alignment with the liberal Democrats that are funding these murders. That's who I have a problem with. The Hippocratic Oath says, first do no harm. Well, you're doing harm. So you doctors are a bunch of liars. And the system for licensing the doctors to kill unborn babies. And let me tell you something. I have just as much. I'm not a Republican, by the way. You may think I am, but I'm not. I have just as much trouble with the Republicans not stopping this today because they don't have balls. If the Republican Party had guts like you did under Reagan, that was about the last time, there would be no NPR, no PBS. It would be self-funded or funded by the public, and not me. And we wouldn't be funding abortions. But the difference is it's in the Democrat Party's platform. So most of the people believe in God. So listen, you're going to have to answer for this, not me. Because God's going to say, why'd you do this? You know what the party believed in. You supported them. Well, because I believe in gun control. I believe in gun control. That's why I believe in gun control. We need to control guns. So I'm a Democrat. We need equity. So I'm a Democrat. You know, I looked at, I'm thinking maybe I'm getting this wrong. I haven't looked for a while as to what party positions are. So, you know, I looked at some conservative pundits regarding, you know, liberals and so on and so forth. And then I looked at what are the Democrats actually standing for here? What do they not like about the Republicans? And man, you know what I found out? It was really two main issues. It was killing unborn babies and letting people in this country illegally. Because if you're the party that depends on people that depend on you, you want more dependence. And that's what the Democratic Party is. It's stealing from one and giving to another. It's not about creating wealth. You know, Democrats are the party of mobs and conservatives are the party of jobs. That's what it comes down to. They want to take your wealth and redistribute it. Pure and simple. I want you to think about that when you're going to the polls. I mean, here in Tennessee, this is a red state. I have no doubt we're going red. But this broadcast goes all over the country and all over the world. So if you're listening anywhere else in the country, I want you to think about making sure that you make the correct decision today. That if you don't vote red, you're voting dead. You're voting to continue the atrocity of killing 600,000 beautiful human beings in the womb. And that needs to be taken out of the platform. Because if conservatives get elected, hopefully, I don't know about the last two that just were nominated to the Supreme Court, because in my opinion, they're moderates. I don't know that they would overturn Roe. I don't even know that you have to overturn Roe v. Wade, because Roe v. Wade was dealing about the health of the mother. It wasn't about the child. And there's a case about to arise, I believe, out of Alabama, where an individual was charged with double homicide. And his argument was simple. how can you charge me with double homicide for killing an unborn child when it's okay to have abortion? You can't have it both ways. And this is probably going to make its way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will finally have to make a decision on whether or not the unborn child is a citizen guaranteed all the protections under the 14th Amendment. That's where this comes, under the 14th Amendment, equal protection of the law. That has never been addressed. And I've said for years, 2 words need to be added to the 14th Amendment. All persons born, here's the 2 words, are unborn or naturalized. If we add those 2 words to the 14th Amendment, I don't think there would be any doubt that killing unborn children would be stopped in this constitutional republic. What could be so more important that we can't find a way to make sure unborn children are protected? It's beyond me. And I can tell you this, and there's another reason I despise the national media, the leftist media, because I worked with them for years. I mean, I worked Philadelphia for 10 years. I lived with them in Jersey. Now, they're a bunch of phonies. They're leftists that claim not to be. And on top of that, the left, primarily the Democrats, have controlled our republic for over 100 years. It wasn't until the late 70s that things started to change. Did you know under Democrat rule in Congress, radio stations were not allowed to change formats without permission of the federal government, the FCC? Thank God Ronald Reagan got elected. We had something called Docket 8090 that allowed a lot of FMs to come on and entrepreneurs like me to have the opportunity to do things in radio. And that did not happen until Reagan's free enterprise exchange took place in the early 80s. Because the Democrats held the media. I can tell you in doing this 45 years, I was threatened to be fired when I used the word pro-life instead of anti-abortion in the 70s. That's how much these lunatics controlled our media. I was threatened to be fired if I didn't promote, as a public service announcement, Planned Parenthood. And my retort was, I'd be happy to have them on, but they have to come on and debate me, which they won't do. Back in the 70s, they claimed global cooling. And I showed how that was a joke, just as global warming is a joke, just as climate change is a joke. And I can tell you this, if you talk to anyone that believes in killing unborn babies, I guarantee you they believe that so-called climate change is real. And of course, they say climate change because the earth isn't warming, so they can't use that anymore. But they believe in that. They believe in controlling your guns. They think corporations are bad. They want to be internationalists and New World Orderness, like the Bushes, instead of being independent, instead of negotiating contracts independently with countries. And then you go to the liberal lunatics, which are the libertarians. And now here with the libertarians, we need free trade. We want free trade. Well, how can you have free trade when the other country has a 50% tariff? And then we're not putting anything on their goods and services. Are you serious? How do you do that? We want free trade. This is stupid, man. It's like the libertarians going, if we get rid of the 16th Amendment, we'll get rid of the income tax. No, you won't, dummies. Article 1, Section 8. Congress have the power to coin and regulate the value of the coin, to tax income, to tax excises and imposts. The income tax is an excise tax. Since 1789, Congress has had the power to tax incomes. It's profit and gain. Profit and gain. Income is not property. It's profit and gain. It's a legal computation. And the 16th Amendment only clarified things, liberal lunatics. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on all incomes from whatever source derived without regard to census or enumeration. Now, I'm doing that out of the top of my head. I think I got it right. And all it did was clarify that the tax has to be from the source, not on the source. If you tax on the source, it's a property tax. If you tax from the source, it's profit and gain. It's an income tax. You're not taxing the oil well. You're not taxing the oil. You're taxing the activity, the profit and the gain. And that is income. Now, why you pay it, that's a whole other subject as to what got you involved in that and how you've given up your avatar and how you have social security numbers and so on and so forth. That's another show for another day. But today we're talking about something you're not going to hear on Marie's show because Marie's going to be taking it to the streets locally. You're not going to hear it with David Toulis because David's going to tell you how we have to have just everybody coming over the border. And I love David. David's a friend of mine. But, here's where we differ in views here at the radio station. I mean, he really thinks that and it's out of Christian love. See, it's for no other reason. It's just out of Christian love. It's that these people are needy. They need, let them come over the border. Let's help them. And that's cool. I think that's great if everyone who wants them to come over the border, unfettered access to America, adopts them. Why not? You know, if you have room in your house, I'm taking 5, I'm taking 10, I'm taking 2. And then you sign a document saying that you're financially responsible for them. And you're responsible for them if they commit any crimes until they become a citizen. Now we're talking. Now here's a dialogue, you see. Now left, you have to put your money where your stupid mouth is instead of just philosophizing. See, the left likes to philosophize. That's the kind of, well, we're just going to sit around and we're going to talk about how to make America great. And we got to think in terms of, how about you, Dr. Jackass?
Well, I can tell you that we need to be more of a caring country. And in that we need to be a caring country, we need to make sure that everyone in the world has access to our republic. We need to bring them all in.
You know, I have a better solution. Why don't we just send them guns so they can overthrow their regimes and institute a country like us? You like our country so much, emulate it. Honduras and Mexico, emulate it. I mean, CIA, why can't you do that, Brennan, you jackass communist? What the hell are we doing with a communist as the head of the CIA? Are you kidding me, Democrats? Brennan was a communist. He belonged to the Communist Party. And this guy's the head of the CIA? Are you kidding me? I wouldn't trust a Democrat in Washington to walk my dog. They can't find their rear end with help. And you're going to vote for one? Are you kidding me? You serious? Putting at the head of the CIA an avowed communist.
The kids under 30 are going, what's a communist? I like socialism. I don't know what it is, but my professor said it's good.
Socialism is government control over production and distribution. That's what it is. So when you go to get your license renewed, but they're pretty good in Tennessee, but most other places, or you're dealing with bureaucracy, you're always getting this pretty young girl up front, and you can never get to the bureaucrat. And that's what communism is. You can never get to the bureaucrat. It's like our public government schools. That's communism right there. It's government control over production and distribution. It's actually a mix of socialism and communism. You actually have a bureaucracy, liberal Democrats, that's their union, not educating, because education means to give proper moral, physical, and intellectual instruction, but schooling individuals into their way of thinking, propagandizing them. You get the system you deserve. 800-8949, 800-8949. I'm sorry, Maria, I hijacked your bed. I didn't have time to put a new one in here on Election Day. Full coverage with Nooga Radio tonight at 8 o'clock as we analyze why and who you're voting for.
Chatter Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Memphis Smith and Abraham Augustin are both charged with serious crimes. They're both 16 years old. One accused of aggravated rape, the other second-degree murder. Detectives believe they escaped from juvenile detention during recreation time and stole a car, escaping all the way down to Hamilton Place Mall. They were spotted by deputies, but slipped away before they could be taken into custody. A $1,000 reward is offered for any info that leads to their arrest. Today is the day to vote. Both parties have been campaigning hard to win ballots. The polls close at 8 o'clock today in Hamilton.
3, 2, 1.
Chatter Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Memphis Smith and Abraham Augustin are both charged with serious crimes. They're both 16 years old. One accused of aggravated rape, the other second-degree murder. Detectives believe they escaped from juvenile detention during recreation time and stole a car, escaping all the way down to Hamilton Place Mall. They were spotted by deputies, but slipped away before they could be taken into custody. A $1,000 reward is offered for any info that leads to their arrest. Today is the day to vote. Both parties have been campaigning hard to win ballots. The polls close at 8 o'clock today in Hamilton County. You'll need a photo ID in order to cast your ballot. Here in Tennessee, the governor's seat's up for grabs. Republican Bill Lee and Democrat Carl Dean neck and neck in the polls. For the Senate, Marsha Blackburn against Phil Bredesen. And for the House, Chuck Fleischman against Dr. Danielle Mitchell. Keep it tuned here for complete coverage. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Tennessee needs a senator who'll advance President Trump's agenda. Phil Bredesen fails the test. Bredesen called Trump's tax cuts crumbs. Bredesen opposes the border wall and said the migrant caravan is not a threat. Phil Bredesen is wrong on the Second Amendment and derated by the NRA. Here's President Trump himself on the choice Tennessee faces.
A vote for Bredesen is a vote for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Phil Bredesen wants to raise your taxes. He opposes the border wall totally. Bredesen will not defend your Second Amendment, and he will never once vote for it. A vote for Marcia is really a vote for me and everything that we stand for.
Reject Phil Bredesen. Join President Trump in supporting Marsha Blackburn for the U.S. Senate. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
The rumors are true. We've opened a Starbucks at 10 North, 20 Cherokee Boulevard on the North Shore. And we're more than just what we brew. We're your new North Shore neighborhood living room, a gathering place, a part of your daily routine, with a warm atmosphere, a spacious patio, convenient complimentary parking, and a full Starbucks food and beverage menu, including the new Nitro Cold Brew. We're a coffee experience, and we make sure everything we do is through the lens of community and contributing value to our vibrant neighborhood. Open daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We look forward to serving you. Starbucks North Shore, inspiring and nurturing the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore, locally owned and operated by Vision Hospitality Group.
Gold, 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 and more gold. And always buy American. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll always get better rates than the banks. We'll convert your silver, diamonds, cash into gold, gold, gold. Precious American gold. Certified by the federal government. Buy American. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. 499-9162. Call 499-9162. And visit Rick at 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Gold, 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 and more gold.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Nicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Hi, this is Eric Pelton with E.J. Pelton Company. There are new tax changes for businesses. Smart business owners are talking to their accountant for tax strategies.
Find out what requirements you must meet to be able to sell your home without paying tax on up to $500,000 of profit if you are married, or $250,000 if you're single.
This tax tip was provided by E.J. Pelton Company, located on Dayton Pike, 332-3339, Brainerd Road, 622-3156.
Early morning showers and strong storms will push off to the east with drier weather for much of your Tuesday. Lots of sunshine for the afternoon, highs lower 70s. Tonight, a little cooler, lows mid-40s. For Wednesday, increasing clouds. Could see an afternoon shower, highs lower 60s. Continued mostly cloudy Thursday. It's apple season, and now is a great time to visit Apple Valley Orchards in Cleveland for some of the freshest apple cider and fried pies around. Open daily, Apple Valley Orchards, 472-3044. And I'm Swartine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Working the coal mine, going downtown town. Working in the coal mine. Not if the Democrats get reelected into power. There'll be no coal mines. They want to shut them all down. Crazy Hillary. Put everybody out of work. I remember hearing for 20 years is America is going to a service industry country. We let the rest of the world manufacture. And the big corporations, I mean, they're doing the same things. I mean, what are they? They conservative, they liberal? No, they're opportunists. If they can get something made cheaper in China or North Korea, they will. So that's why you're going to see North Korea fold. North Korea is going to fold because that's the next country that's going to make things for pennies on the dollar. Instead of saying, like Trump is saying, and this is a message I like, listen, you're no longer going to take your business out of this country, go to another country, set up manufacturing there, and sell your goods back to America with no tariff. That is not going to happen. You're going to keep your business right here in this republic, or you're going to be taxed heavily bringing them back. What is wrong with that message? Can anybody tell me what's wrong with that message? Because it sounds like the Democratic Party has sold their soul to the devil with their internationalist views. I mean, look at this creep Schiff. Man, and I'm not kidding. When Barack Obama spoke, I got physically ill. When Hillary speaks, I get physically... Hold on a minute. Just thinking about them, I just threw up in my mouth. Just thinking about Hillary and Barack and Schiff speak. And Schumer, Chuck Schumer, you big phony. Yeah, they're talking about bringing back the Russian investigation. Are you kidding me? Do something to create jobs for Americans, you bums. You want to investigate Hillary's emails. You and I would be in prison for 1,000 years if we did what she did. You know why? Because it's just us. It's just them. There is no justice when it comes to criminal Democrats. I can tell you that as a matter of personal testimony, being in this business over 40 years in radio, that when the Democrats are in, they attack conservative radio in every way they can, including financially, these slime balls. I have no problem with Republicans, and even when I attack Republicans. But when Democrats are in, they attack. Look what the IRS did. Look at Lois Lerner attacking the Tea Party. You know Barack Obama knew that. It just dropped. What happened? That it just went away. It vanished. What happened? Because of the fake news media. Do not trust anything you hear coming out of NBC, CBS television. I'm not going to say Fox is half-truths. They almost all have a left-wing agenda. Even Fox, to me, is left-wing. And the newspapers forget about them. Everything is in the wording. You know, like if you look at this Schiff story on AP, or Trump will do a little piece on the Liberal, or the media will say, in a further attempt to uncover corruption between the Trump administration and Russia. Well, right there, you're telling me that there was corruption. I remember we're a CBS radio affiliate, and I love CBS radio. It is the most objective news in the world, in the country. And that's why we're carrying it. Because CBS Radio News, some of the best newscasters in the world, they slip once in a while. You know, the other week when there was Stormy Daniels stories out, they were talking about Trump and hush money. And I made a phone call to CBS and said, I have a question for you. Yeah? Who was there during this alleged transaction between Trump's people and Stormy? Well, no one. Then why are you calling this hush money? In the law, we would say that's facts, not in evidence. We don't know if there's any hush money was exchanged. It could have been money for services rendered. Maybe Trump had a good roll with her for a week or a night, and he paid her $100,000 for that. I don't know. You don't know. So why are you saying hush money? Well, they apologized. Because if you're a news organization, you are not supposed to taint it with your language. Be neutral in your language. Present what you believe are the facts. If it's third party, alleged, and then let us decide. And that's why our slogan here at Nooga Radio is, you report, the world decides. That's our slogan. We've had that now for 6 years, 5 years, because every one of you are reporters if you have a smartphone. And that's why we pay for the best news tip of the day at 800-8949, area 423. Because if you see news and you report it to us for the best news tip, we will pay for that. But you are the reporter. You report, and the world decides. Well, you see, for this agenda to work with Democrats and liberals and the left and the socialists, the only way this can possibly work is through lying through the national media. Because if you were to look at, you would just strip them naked, okay? Let's just strip Democrats naked. I don't want to do that. The ugliest part on stripping them naked is their brains, because it's gray mush. It stinks too, because there ain't nothing there. Woo! My goodness. Hook up to a 12-volt battery and charge that thing. What do we see? We see that it's okay on our platform to destroy unborn life up until it's born. And I made this prediction years ago, and I've asked sheriffs this years ago and so-called law enforcement, what would you do? Because I wonder why they let murdering take place in America. You know, why aren't the sheriffs in there smashing the equipment of the abortionists and saying, take that to the Supreme Court?
because the Supreme Court had an opinion that the killing unborn babies up to the first trimester is okay. But what about the second and third? And what would happen? This may sound crazy, but what would happen if the Supreme Court ruled it's okay, mothers, to kill your baby up until a year after it's born? And I asked sheriff's departments and police departments, what would you do knowing that there were murder centers that were killing children, let's say with Down syndrome or sick children, or even healthy children? I don't want a boy that's blonde hair and blue-eyed. We're going to kill him up until a year old. And the Supreme Court said it was okay. Would you try to close that down, or would you be okay with it? What would you do? Well, what's interesting is I'm hearing that they say they're going to follow what the Supreme Court says. You're not required to follow an unconstitutional decision, whether it's from the Supreme Court or not. You're not required to do that. Let me tell you what happened in Florida. And by the way, before I talk about that, in Australia, if you don't believe me, Google this. The talking heads, the socialists, the therapists are already discussing that in Australia, giving women the authority up until a year after the child is born to kill it, especially if it has Down syndrome, and saying, well, that's okay because, well, come on, what does a 6-month-old know anyway? Goo goo gaga? They don't even know. We're going to put them to sleep like we do our dogs, our favorite pets, our cats. We'll give them a little injection and we'll play some nice music and they go off to sleep, and now we don't have to worry about it. They're here. These sick SOBs are here in this world. Look at Hitler. Look at Hitler. It can happen again. You know what's interesting? When we look at the right and the so-called left, let me correct you on that. And let me tell you how you've been lied by everyone your entire life, from mommy and daddy to the school teacher to judges. Let me tell you how you've been lied to, especially the media. If we're going to have a scale, to the far left is total tyranny. We're going to call that socialism, which is government control over production and distribution, which, God forbid, if we have bureaucrats controlling anything. Collectivism, which is socialism's cousin. It's dirty cousin. That's the cousin that'll, sleep with anybody, even the first cousin. So socialism is collectivism is socialism's dirty cousin, Then you got communism, fascism, Marxism, oligarchies, all the isms, oligarchy. Yeah, I'll put capitalism at the very top of that because it's the least offensive of all the rest. But even that is an ism that has special privileges. So that's all to the left. This is everyone that wants to tell you what to do or not to do in your life. If you have ever had anyone in your life that tells you what to do or not to do, I'll give an example. Don't file a tax return. Well, they can charge you with willful failure to file. So you can actually go to jail for not doing something. There's other things too. Let's say you see a felony being committed and you do nothing. You can go to jail for that. You have to try to stop the felony. So you're being told you're free, which means you have the ability to do whatever you want at any time without violating anyone's individual rights. That doesn't mean insulting them or hurting their little snowflake emotions because she did it. Where's my cat? Where's my mama? Where's my pinky? That's what freedom is supposed to be. But to the far left is anti-freedom and anti-liberty. As you go to the right, we go to more freedom. To the far right is anarchy. That means no government at all. And America was supposed to basically be an anarchist country that we do what we do. We raise our family. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the only time there's an interference is when we take an action that hurts someone else. And that's where the constitutional republic comes in, where government doesn't grant rights. They come from God. 10 of them enumerated in the Bill of Rights. 155 other common law rights, like the right to marry and the right to have children, not enumerated. All to the far right, freedom to the far right. As we click one notch left of the right, we go to a constitutional republic. That's a representative government where you elect people to represent you or represent you. And prior to the revolution, one of the great founders said, when he was trying to be convinced to kill the British and get rid of them and start our own country, he said, what difference does it make that we have one tyrant 3,000 miles away if we exchange that for 3,000 tyrants 1 mile away? And that means a democracy, mob rule of 3,000 people
to vote to overturn your rights is no better than having a king or queen. And that's why we developed the concept of a republic. Well, we didn't. It goes back to the Magna Carta and actually beyond that. But in modern times, the Magna Carta of 1215. But now we're to the far right. One click left is a republic. And then as we go to the middle, we have what I call a dumb-mocracy or democracy, where the majority of the idiots get to tell you what to do or not to do. And that is a dumb-mocracy. That has nothing to do with liberty. So when people talk about left and right, I want you to remember that everything on the left is to control you, to tell you what to do or not to do. And as we go further right, that doesn't mean Republican, and it doesn't mean conservative. Because if a Republican or conservative wants to tell you what to do or not to do, then they're to the left. Don't ever be fooled. Anytime you're required to do or not do something, that's to the left. That's control of the individual. As we go to the right, it is liberty. And to the far right is anarchy. And I love anarchy. I just don't know that we can have it without everyone loving one another, starting with protecting unborn children. And I'll never believe that we can do that until the murder of unborn children stop. We talked about what the law enforcement would do if the Supreme Court said it was okay for women to kill their children up until they're a year old and they're born. And let me tell you what happened in Florida not too long ago, probably 20 years ago. Karen Quinlan, she was immobilized. She was, they said, brain dead, but they were still feeding her through a feeding tube. And Jeb Bush was governor at that time. And the court, I call him Judge Queer. His judge was Judge Geer, I think his name was. I named him Judge Queer because he was weird. Federal judge in Tampa ruled that take away all of her feeding tubes and don't give her any nutrition, let her die. One of the most horrible deaths is dying of not only starvation, but thirst. Can you imagine when you're thirsty, you're like, matter of fact, now I have to take a drink here. Hold on a minute. It's lovely beverage of the bean. Ah, it feels so good. That's nice and warm. Ah, yeah. Love my cup of job. But not having that's one of the most horrible deaths. And Judge Queer in Tampa said, just take her off the thing. What the hell do I let her? She's brain dead. What the hell? She's brain dead. And Bush, I mean, and I don't particularly like the Bushes because to me they're internationalists, but Governor Bush said, no, we're going to protect this life. You're not going to do this. So Bush, get this, he sends in the state police. Whoa, this actually happened. You can Google it. And Judge Queer, to enforce his order, sends in the sheriff's department. So now we have Judge Queer with his order in the sheriff's department. Sheriff saying, I got to listen to this judge. And we have the state police in there going, you ain't coming into this hospital. Now we have a Mexican standoff. They actually pulled their guns. I mean, there could have been a shooting between the state police and the sheriff because the governor is saying, you're not going to take her off of life support. We're not even going to allow you into the hospital. And the sheriff's saying, I have to follow the order of this judge. So it was interesting to see how the dividing parties acted. What happened was they compromised. And I always say the only thing in the middle of the road are yellow lines and dead skunks. So never be in the middle of the road. Take a position, even if it's an unpopular position, and make sure you understand your position. And the example I'll give you is I had an epiphany on the air live years ago where I was a slice 'em and dice 'em pro-death penalty conservative until a caller one day called me and said, aren't you the guy that doesn't trust any government at all, even the dog catcher? I said, you're right. And then he said to me, well, how do you trust government to kill people? And at that moment, I admitted to that caller, I have been wrong for all these years. And you're right. And that's so simple. And I didn't think about that. I was just thinking about the guy that murdered someone and how he should be punished. But then we looked at how many people that were being put to death that were actually innocent because of DNA. And that made me change my opinion on the death penalty, making me anti-death penalty because the government is doing it and they can't find their own ass without help. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So if government does something right, it is by accident. How about that? So you can teach an old dog new tricks. Everyone has the ability to be educated, to learn. And if you're voting today, I'm telling you, get educated and learn. And if you vote for a liberal or a Democrat, you're voting for your own destruction. Until they embrace the idea of liberty They embrace the idea that we're not going to put in a death care system that compels you to do something. Here we go. In the early 80s, I joined a station in Philadelphia, and 2 weeks later, they said, you have to join the union. I'm like, what? Because I've been a conservative since I was 13 because I was a voracious reader. I read everything. And I made a decision, I don't like being told what to do. So in that, it just goes along with my personality. So at 13, I became a conservative. I don't know if it's compassionate or not, but in that, I basically despised liberals and unions and whatever because I don't need anybody to speak for me or collective bargaining. But I have a decision to make. And in a market it's a big market, but like any other market, radio stations are limited, especially talk stations and so on and so forth. So I have to make a decision here. Am I going to quit my job, which I've not taken jobs because of certain factors, or am I going to buckle under and join AFTRA, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, whose president was Lane Kirkland, a card-carrying communist who I couldn't stand? So this is how I compromised, because I'm a compromiser. I have to admit, I'm a hypocrite. I'm a compromiser. How did I compromise? Well, I drafted a letter telling them that the Supreme Court ruled I have to pay your stinking lousy union dues, but I don't have to be a member. So I then became the only non-member in the country of AFTRA, but I paid all the dues, and I collected none of the benefits. So that was my way out. That was like, to me, paying the mafia. Hey, you got a real nice storefront here, Filippo. Really nice. You worked hard, don't you, Filippo? Oh, yes, I do. I work very, very hard. Well, you know what? You don't want that nice glass window broken now, do you? Oh, no, we don't want no glass. Well, you know what, Filippo? I'll tell you what. You just pay us $100 a week, and we'll make sure you get protection. And that was AFTRA. You pay us your tithing, you pay us your dues, we compel it out of you, and you can keep working. So that was my compromise, to pay the wacko left so I could keep working. But what a sad way to go through life where, you're free, you claim to be free, but you're compelled to join a union. You're compelled. Now, it's different if you're working. And if you agreed by contract, that's totally different. If you agreed by contract that you're going to perform a service, then in essence, for those 4, 6, or 8 hours, you're basically a slave. That's just the way it is. But other than that, if you're compelled to do or not do something, and you're okay with that, then you're to the far left. Some other issues you need to be considering is the right to keep and bear arms, where it amazes me how lawyers don't understand plain, simple English. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Really? If you and I had a Bill of Rights to draft, what would we put in there that is more encompassing dealing with you and I having the ability to protect ourselves than the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed? But they will use excuse after excuse after excuse to infringe upon our constitutional rights. Now, Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania Constitution says, the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. Do you hear what I'm saying? Shall not be questioned. That's in the Bill of Rights of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I lived there for many years. That means if 2 or more people get together to in any way enact a bill, rule, regulation, or law regarding your right to bear arms, they're conspiring with each other. That's a felony. And if they've taken an oath, they can go to jail for 2 years for perjury because they lied. They said they were going to protect, uphold, and defend the Constitution. It says shall not be questioned. But then it'll get into a court, and here's the main problem in our republic. It will get into a so-called court of law, and the left-wing socialist international judiciary, following right along with Agenda 21, will ignore our Constitution and go with international law. And that is treason. If we don't today elect conservatives, if there is not a red wave today, there's not going to be a red judiciary. There's going to be a blue, weak streak that appoints strong liberal judges in an agenda that opposes the Constitution of these states united. Do you want that? Do you want that? Do you want judges determining what the law is? You see, when I hear a lawyer tell me the Supreme Court interprets the law, I know they weren't educated. Anytime a lawyer says, well, the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution, I know they're not educated because the Supreme Court does not interpret the Constitution. What the Supreme Court does is give an opinion on the statute in relationship to the Constitution. That's what the Supreme Court does. There's nothing to interpret. There's no ambiguity in the Constitution. There's no ambiguity in the Bill of Rights. It's not there. So there's no interpretation necessary. If the Supreme Court had to interpret the Constitution, the entire document would be void for vagueness. So don't let anybody fool you. The Supreme Court gives opinions, but they are not there to interpret the Constitution. Do we want the judiciary to control this republic, to continue to control this republic, where the Constitution stops them and the judiciary overwrites the specific overt written word in the Constitution? If you don't vote red today, that's what you're voting for. If you don't vote red today, you're voting to continue unborn children. No way around that. So I want you to think about it today, because you're not going to hear this from anybody else, because they're not courageous enough to tell you this. They're afraid of their job. They're afraid of what their friends will think. They're afraid of their bosses. They're afraid of clients. They don't want to tell you the truth. Well, I'm here to tell you the truth. That's my job. That's my job. My job is to tell you the truth and to tell you that I feel pretty, oh so pretty, because I voted today straight red. I can't get that. I don't know why I can't get that song out of my head. Was that from My Fair Lady? No, that's from. That's what I thought. Okay, I think I may have seen that when I was a kid. Listen, I'm so glad we had this time together. You know, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Now I'm kind of ripping everybody off, aren't I? It's Mike Steele. Marie Mott is next. Remember, First Responder Friday starts this Friday. We're going to be honoring a first responder every Friday for doing a fantastic job and getting there first. I can't imagine the courage of these incredible men and women that do this day in and day out. And full coverage tonight, full election coverage tonight. The returns start at 8 o'clock. We'll be in the studio. We'll be at the Republican headquarters and the Democrat headquarters, and the only radio station to cover President Trump's speech and the entire event from 7 in the morning till 10 at night, broadcasting it live.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3.
Was us here at Nuga Radio 92.7. Sorry, Mr. Liner Man. Have yourself a great day.
7 Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Early morning showers and strong storms will push off to the east with drier weather for much of your Tuesday. Lots of sunshine for the afternoon, highs lower 70s. Tonight, a little cooler, lows mid-40s. For Wednesday, increasing clouds. Could see an afternoon shower, highs lower 60s. Continuing mostly cloudy Thursday. It's apple season, and now is a great time to visit Apple Valley Orchards in Cleveland for some of the freshest apple cider and fried pies around. Open daily, Apple Valley Orchards, 472-3044. And I'm Swarcheen 12, Chief Meteorologist.